Hey guys, so I wanted to do a couple of examples from Delta Math for today's math assignment. So they're going to have two different skills to do today. The first one is to find the equation for a line given your point or given a point on the line and the slope of the line. So here this says, what is the equation of the line that passes through the point -4, 2 and has a slope of -1? So the first thing that I would do, since again, like I'm a visual person, is I would always start by drawing. So I would plot the point -4, +2 on a coordinate plane. And then I know it has a slope of -1. So I know that in general, my graph will be decreasing, right? We just need to figure out what is the rise over run. So we know that we can write -1 as -1 over 1. So that means that our rise would be -1, so we'd be going down 1, and our run is +1, so we'd be going down 1, and +1 means we're going to the right. So from this point, we can find other points by just going down 1, right 1, and that's another point. Down 1, right 1, that's another point. Down 1, right 1, that's another point. Down 1, right 1, that's another point. Down 1, right 1. So this is, and I'm going to try and, so this is our line that passes through this point -4, 2 and has a slope of -1. So now we have not only the slope, right, but we also have our y-intercept. So where our graph crosses our y-axis at -2. So now we should be able to, given the slope and our y-intercept, so this is our m, and this would be our b, we should be able to write an equation in the form y equals mx plus b. So they gave us our m, they said our m was -1, our slope, and our b we found by going from our point using our slope to find the y-intercept. So our equation would be y is equal to -1x plus our b, which is -2. And I can simplify this. We don't have to say -1x, we can just say -x. And instead of saying plus -2, we could just say -x. We could just say -2. So that would be in y equals. We always have to put y equals. We should always have x and y in our final answer. That should be our final answer. Just to double check, I have the proper answer here. And you can see that that is what we got. Y is equal to -x minus 2. So let's try another one. So this one we have, let's do a different color. We have a point at -5, 4. So starting from my origin, I'm going to go -5 on my x-axis, right? Because these are x, y ordered pairs. So I want to find -5 on my x-axis and +4 on my y-axis. So here's -5 on my x-axis. Here's +4 on my y-axis. So they intersect at this point. So this is the point -5, 4. Then we have a slope of 3 over 5. So remember, this is our rise that's going up or down, and since it's +3 in our numerator, we're going up 3, and we have a +5 in our denominator, which is going left or right, and since it's positive, it means we're going right. So from this point, we can go up 3 to the right 5. So we can go up 1, 2, 3 to the right 1, 2, oh, sorry, 1, 2, 3 bunny hops, and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bunny hops. And if we had to do another point, we would be off of the graph that I have here, right? But we can see that that is our y-intercept. So we draw the line that exists between those 2 points. It looks like that, right? Not very steep because it's a fractional slope. So we have our m, we have our slope, we also have our y-intercept right here, so we can't see it. This is 6, so this would be 7. That would be our b, our y-intercept. So if we were to write our equation in the form y equals mx plus b, our m, our slope was 3/5, so y is equal to 3/5 x. plus our b, which was positive 7, and I can't simplify anything anymore, so that would be my final answer. Y is equal to 3/5 x plus 7. Let's check. Yep, y is equal to 3/5 x plus 7. All right, so the second skill that you're going to have to do is to write the line equation, or the equation of a line, from 2 points. So here we're given 2 points, and we're not given the slope and we're not given the y-intercept. But we can find it using, we can find the slope either using the equation for slope, or we can graph our points, which is what I prefer to do and what I'm going to do. So the point, oh, I can't fit 8 on this graph. So actually, so for this one, since I can't fit 8 on this graph, I'm just going to use my equation for slope. So we have 2 points, and our equation for slope, just to review your memory, is the change in y, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so you're going to want to call, let's call this point our first point. I'll call -2, -7 my second point. So our y coordinate from our second point, that would be -7, minus the y coordinate from our first point would be 8, over the x coordinate from our second point, which was -2, minus the x coordinate from our first point, which is 4. So in our numerator, we have -7 minus 8. We do -7 minus 8 in our calculator. So we get -15 in our numerator. And in our denominator, we have -2 minus 4. Oops. -2 minus 4. We get -6. So this I can simplify. So let me see if I can, I'll just rewrite this over here so I have more space. Over -6, and I'll erase this. So first of all, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I'm going to rewrite this just as 15 over 6. And then I know that both 16 and 6 have a common factor of 3. So I know these are both evenly divisible by 3. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 5 and 2 don't have any common factors, so this is going to be as simple as I can get it. So this is going to be my m. Okay, that's our m. So the slope of my line is 5 over 2, or 5/2. Now we need to find our y-intercept. So let me draw a line. So the way that we would do this is we would just pick one of our points, and I like our first point because it has even numbers. I mean, positive numbers instead of negative numbers are always easier to work with for me. So I'm going to write my equation. Y is equal to mx plus b. That's always the equation for a line. And I always just start by writing the generic equation. Then I plug in what I know. Well, I know my m is 5/2. And I'm going to take the x and y from one of the points, it doesn't matter which one, and plug the x coordinate in for x and the y coordinate in for y. So since I chose the point for 8, my y coordinate is 8, is equal to 5/2. Our x coordinate was 4, plus b. So now you can solve for b, and then you'll have your m and your b, and you can plug that into your final answer. So let's solve for b. So 5/2 times 4, we can rewrite 4 as 4 over 1. So if we're doing 5 over 2 times 4 over 1, remember that when you multiply fractions, you multiply your numerators and denominators straight across. So this will give us 8 is equal to 20. 5 times 4 is 20. Over 2, 2 times 1 is 2, plus b. Well, 20 over 2 is the same thing as 20 divided by 2. So we'll have 8 is equal to 20 divided by 2 is 10, plus b. And then in order to solve for b, we need to subtract 10 from both sides of our equation. So this turns into a 0, and we just get b on the right-hand side of our equation. And then 8 minus 10 is negative 2. So we have negative 2 is equal to b. So that's our b. So now we have our m, 5/2, and our b. So the final equation, and I know that was a lot of steps, but our final equation is going to look like y is equal to our m, 5/2, x plus our b, which we said was negative 2. So instead of plus negative 2, I'll just write minus 2. So that will be our final equation for the line that passes through the point 4, 8 and negative 2, negative 7. So let's just double check our answer for that. And they got the same thing that we did. So I'll do one more example like this because I know that was a lot of steps. So this one is a little bit easier to do visually on a coordinate plane, well, at least on this coordinate plane because the numbers are smaller. So let's start by plotting our points. So we have the point -3 and -5, -3, -5. So -3, -5 is right here. And the point -2, -4. -2, -4. So the line that passes through these 2 points definitely has a positive slope, right? It's increasing from left to right. And our slope is the distance between the rise and run between any 2 points in our line. So the rise here was 1 bunny hop up, 1 bunny hop over. So our m is going to be 1 over 1, which is just 1. So our m is 1. And our y-intercept, well, we can kind of see because we sketched it, but we always want to be precise. So we can just keep going up 1 over 1. So up 1 over 1, we'll put a line right here, a point right here. Up 1 over 1, we'll put another point right here. Up 1 over 1, we'll put another point right here. And if you do that and you just keep going up 1 over 1, you can see that our y-intercept, our line crosses our y-axis at the point -2. So that is going to be our b, our y-intercept. So our b is equal to -2. So again, I'm just going to start by writing the equation for a line since I know that this is a linear function. Y equals mx plus b. Our m, we said was 1, so y is equal to 1x plus our b, we said was -2. So we don't ever have to write 1x, we can just write that as x. And then we don't have to say plus -2, we can simplify that to -2. So the equation for this line that passes through these 2 points is y is equal to x minus 2 in simplest form. Double check. Yep, they got what we got. So we are all good. All right, hope that helps.